Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to remove the battery on a 2017 Honda Civic. I looked online, I couldn't really find any videos doing it, so I decided to try it myself. And I eventually figured it out, so I figured, hey, why not make a video and show other people how to do it? Let's share that knowledge. So let's get right into it. So for this battery replacement, all you're really going to need is just your 10mm socket. So what you want to start off with is, even though this battery looks a little bit more complicated than most, it's actually fairly simple. All you're going to want to do is first, you're going to want to remove this terminal cover here. You don't need to remove the entire cover, you can just open this right here. We're going to first loosen and remove this bolt. This is actually going to be used using your 10mm socket. We're going to remove that first. So let's just get into that. Alright guys, after removing that one nut there, and you don't really have to remove it all the way, you just have to loosen it up, and then you're able to get that terminal off. Once you get the positive terminal off, we've next got to move into removing the negative terminal over here. That can be done by simply loosening up that nut right there, and then pulling the entire enclosure off. This comes off as one entire unit. So let's go ahead and do that next. Alright guys, just wanted to show that all I really did here was just loosen up that nut, and then from here you can actually just wiggle this out of place and get it out. Let's go ahead and move that out of the way. So here, the next thing you're going to do is actually just loosen up these two nuts here. Just be very careful, because these posts are pretty much free hanging on the bottom. Not sure if you can see right down there. So once we remove these, we're just going to take off this bracket right here. Alright, so I first loosened them up using my 10mm socket. Now I'm just kind of hand loosening these up right here. Don't loosen them up all the way, that way they stay on the bracket. Just got to unhook them from the very bottom, and this one will unhook from here at the side. Once that is done, you can remove the entire enclosure and just set it aside. Alright guys, so from here, I found it easiest to first remove this cover and then get the battery off. It's a little hard to try to get the entire battery off with the cover still on it. Your battery bracket should have this holder right here, which will allow you to kind of tilt it over so that it can clear the grommet right there. This shield here it'll just pull directly off, and once that's off, your battery is completely loose and it can be removed. Alright guys, so after you remove the battery, you just kind of want to inspect it, make sure that you bought the right one. So the reason I decided to change out my batteries is because I was actually having a lot of issues where the car just refused to turn on, and I did some research and I found that these Hondas tend to have that problem with batteries. So I actually got my car tested, made sure the alternator was fine, and everything, all the tests showed that my battery was actually bad, so that's why I'm replacing the battery. Alright guys, so this is my new battery right here. I bought a Duralast, mostly because it was the cheapest thing I could find at the time. I found that in order to get the battery back in, it's actually easiest if you put this cover on the battery first and then slip the entire unit in as one piece. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I've gotten the battery cover back on the battery, and as you can see, just please do be mindful, your cover should have this embossed arrow. That arrow, you want to make sure that's pointing to the front of the vehicle. That's the orientation it's supposed to go in. Alright guys, so now that I've gotten the battery as well as the cover back in, you kind of just want to wiggle it back into place. The battery actually sits really flat as long as it's put in correctly. So if you feel like your battery's tilting a little bit too much, just make sure to adjust it so that it's in the right place. So next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to put this bracket back on. Like I said, since we didn't unscrew it completely, we can actually get this all back in one piece. And again, this actually will also have a little arrow pointing forward to show you which direction it should go. You have to first hook it into the holes there on the side, and then following on this side. And then once those are in, go ahead and screw them down so that they're tight. I would get them in to be, about hand tight. You don't want the battery moving around, but you also don't want to crush the battery. Alright, so now that these are about hand tight, you do want to tighten them down at least a little bit with your 10mm socket, just to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. Alright guys, yeah, that's not going to go anywhere. So now we just want to replace the terminals back in the exact opposite direction in which we first took them off. So we're going to first start off with the negative terminal. I'm going to put that and just slightly hover it over there. You're going to want to make sure the terminal is actually all the way at the bottom. So just get it all the way in there. Alright guys, once you've made sure that your terminal's sitting perfectly flat up against the battery, you're going to want to go ahead and tighten this down. And again, you're going to want to make sure that it's tight so that it's not going to go anywhere. But I wouldn't use anything like a torque bar, because you don't actually want to over tighten this and end up breaking it. Alright guys, now that we got the negative terminal nice and installed, we're going to go ahead and install the positive terminal now. Just be sure to first remove this red cap off of your battery to expose the terminal there. Now that we've got both terminals in, Just make sure you also go ahead and tighten down this nut right here. You don't want that terminal slipping off or having bad contact. Now that we have everything tightened down and the battery's nice and installed, let's go ahead and try turning her on. Guys, moment of truth. Let's go ahead and see that engine start light is starting to flash. That's a good sign. That means the car's recognizing the battery. Clutch is in, and perfect. We nice and got the car started up. Alright guys, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys watching the video. This is my very first video. I'm not really a YouTuber. I'm not professional at fixing cars. I'm just a guy who wants to save a couple bucks here and there. So if you guys enjoyed, please do give the video a like. I would really appreciate if you guys subscribe, although I can't promise any future content. But if you guys do have videos that you'd like me to make, if you guys have a couple requests, things that you'd like to see done to a Honda Civic 2017, the SI in particular, because that's what I have, I'd be more than willing to put my car up to the test and try it out. As far as these driving initializing systems, that usually happens whenever your battery completely runs low, or if you've actually replaced the battery, it's going to happen too. So you just got to drive around a bit with it. Meanwhile, those alerts are going, you're actually not going to be able to use your brake hold or your cruise control. So just do keep that in mind. But apart from that, guys, again, thank you very much. I really appreciate your support. And let's maybe make the next video about cleaning this car up, because it looks like it's really dusty. All right, you guys have a good one. I will hope to see you in the next one. Thanks.